Hello there.
Hello.
And welcome to episode 186 of the Nerds at Large Gaming Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Darby Hallman.
Yeah, I'm Jeff Mayo.
Ooh, baby, ready to talk about some hot games, Jeffrey?
Always.
Always ready. Only the hottest here.
Yep.
These games are too hot to handle. You need some gloves. Some heat-resistant gloves, because the hotness is just...
Can't stop, won't stop.
It just won't stop.
No.
No, you can't stop these games.
No.
You can't. Don't try. Please don't try.
I would never.
Please just let some adults handle it, okay?
Okay.
You don't have to be the hero.
I'll try.
Oh boy, how you been doing?
Doing pretty good. How about you?
Not bad. Excited for E3.
Yeah, got that coming up.
The excitement's kind of getting there. Like, this is like, I think the having it being 2 years since E3 probably helps a little bit.
Yeah.
And like the more we hear about it, it's becoming more and like, I still think it's gonna be like it's not gonna be like one of the best E3s of all time. I don't think it's gonna be like that type of thing. But you know, I think there could be some cool stuff here.
Yeah. I've seen some people hype themselves up, like saying, "Oh, I think it's gonna be one of the best E3s ever." It's been 2 years since E3. I'm like, announcements didn't stop just because E3 didn't happen. That's not how it works.
And think about what happened in those 2 years. We had a fucking global pandemic that's been going on for over a year. So
and that's why we might get less stuff than a normal
Exactly.
E3, even if this resembles more of a normal one.
Exactly. Basically, time stopped for a year. It's not like games were being toiled away at all.
Well, what's more exciting about that week is because we got Final Fantasy VII interlude or whatever the fuck.
One.
Yeah. Ratchet and Clank. And now Darby and I convinced ourselves to get Guilty Gear Strive.
It just looks too pretty.
It does.
It looks too pretty. It's legitimately probably like the best looking, at least visual fighting game ever made. I mean, it's just like the art. It has the art style, like very stylized thing, but it also is just like buttery smooth and like, I mean, it looks like an anime.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't look like it makes even Dragon Ball Fighters look like a little more stilted. Like, you know, like the animation just goes from here to here to here to here, whereas Guilty Gear is just like fluid, nice, beautiful.
Because we're excited for
It's great.
potential Fighters 2 or whatever other anime shit thing. Actual Sony Jump licensed property thing they do.
No, this feels like Arc System Works have leveled up, and they were already like on top, killing the game. They were already on top of pretty much anyone else right now in the fighting game space, and this does feel like them leveling up because the game also just looks fun. Like the abilities that people do, it's like way too fast for my stupid little brain to handle, and that's why I play Mortal Kombat when I play these things. But I can't deny it's like, yeah, I want to play this game. It was fun.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be trash at it, just absolute garbage.
We'll all be trash.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. But it's going to be fun. I hope it can kind of, you know, breathe some life. I think, like, I kind of feel bad for people like Max and other fighting game creators that I follow because I feel like it's kind of been a drought for a while.
I think it's just partly because the fighting game is still a niche thing and games are taking longer to make. So when only the same companies and properties are getting... you know, making fighting games for the most part. There's still like Power Rangers and them fighting herds that do good stuff. Yeah. And there's an example of good smaller games, but generally, it's the same people.
And lots of tournaments have just died like because of the COVID thing or whatever. And this kind of exposed how many fighting games have terrible online.
Yeah, it's one reason why, you know, people, not necessarily us, who probably won't jump into it that much, people are so excited for Guilty Gear Strives online with the betas and everything. It's phenomenal. And just, you know, it's good to, like, part of the hype around Guilty Gear for a lot of people is the rollback netcode, and I think Guilty Gear will help. It's starting to become more standard. I think that will help kind of solidify. It's like,
it's one of the big
if you're not doing this, you're fucking up.
Right. Yeah.
Which is just nothing.
Because sadly, most of the games that were doing it were like smaller games. It's like it seems like some of the biggest games still had just unacceptable online. So
I think Mortal Kombat added like afterwards kind of rollbacky netcode. But because of the way the stuff works, it can't be like true rollback because it's after the game was out. I might be wrong on that, but that was my understanding of it.
Yeah, I think from what I've heard, it's a pretty like back end thing that you probably needed to be like that needed to be the plan the whole time.
Yeah, that's what people are kind of excited for whatever everyone does next because you can't go back from that.
Yeah. And this is probably just going to make Nintendo further and further and behind when it comes to these things. Which,
yeah.
Well, that was a nice fighting game discussion. But Jeff, We haven't been playing fighting games this week. You've actually been playing a VR game.
I've been trapped in the Ver.
A pretty big one.
Yes.
Some might consider the best VR game.
Indeed.
Many have said that.
Yes.
Many of the few who have played this game.
So, some have called this game of the year of the crazy year that was last year. And obviously, if you can't guess it, well, it's Half Life Alyx. That's what we're talking about. Yeah.
That is some high, crazy praise. But I know you've not played anywhere near enough to assess it to that degree. But just from the little bit that you've played, are you having a good time?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I'm continually impressed. If you took a magnifying glass to it, you can probably point out the concessions they had to make for VR. But at least in my initial impression, this has to do far less than about any other made for VR game.
Nice.
So as far as what's actually going on in the background, and even sometimes character this is me speaking as someone who this is their first Half-Life game. The amount of people, you can look at the amount of people and stuff, and they're like, okay, yeah, there's less people here, but that might be a concession, but at least the way the story is working so far.
Hold that microphone up just a little bit, more towards your face. Yeah, I mean, I could tell from even looking at just from the very little bit at the beginning, the scope definitely seems there with things walking over your head, airships going over all this.
Yeah, that's kind of what impressed me about Hitman when I played that, because it was still the Hitman level and the scope and everything, the models and stuff. The models here do a lot more crazies, more detailed and all that kind of stuff, but more like a normal first-person video game. They're less models, so it makes more sense compared to Hitman, but it's still very impressive to me, and it explains why my sounds like my laptop's gonna fly off into space whenever I play this game.
Can imagine. Probably
legitimately looking at the specs and everything, my laptop can barely run at bare minimum because I have to play on low fidelity.
Yeah, I bet that. You
It
probably
really good with that.
Yeah.
So when I can't imagine how good it look. What if I did had a PC that can run it high and it?
Yeah. That's the little bit I was playing. It was that high.
Very minimum choppiness from it I've seen. It did some, I think, when I first started the game, but as I did, I was like, okay, this is fine. It's pretty smooth. It's smooth compared so far. Pretty smooth compared to me playing a lot of games on PSVR.
I'm sure.
And this game is a lot.
Because this is definitely, I know you played some other things, but this is the first pushing the boundary game you played on your Oculus, right? I mean,
yeah. I'm obviously gonna play more because this is the pushing the boundary game. But yeah.
So have you gotten into any encounters or done any thing to show what unique thing they're doing with the VR? Have you done more than just walking around and getting exposition and stuff?
Done a little more than that. I haven't got to actually in a combat encounter. Mainly what I did, I got these little glove things, which I like that they did this, and I feel like it makes sense in what I know of the Half-Life universe, but it just kind of makes things smoother in VR, where you can they call it it's like a gravity glove thing, where you point to something and with your palm open, and it kind of glows and does a little laser thing to it, and then when you flick your wrist, it flies towards you.
Okay,
and you can
that's
catch
cool
it.
VR mechanic.
So you don't. You can if you want to bend over and all that, but if you're in a place where that's probably not much of an option, because you might bang your head. It's a nice thing. If there's ammo on the ground, just do it. Boop, grab, put it in your backpack.
Yeah, that sounds like it's a cool ability to have just in general, but also for VR, it could mask some of the awkwardness of just.
I can even imagine the way this game works. I can even see for something if a zombie or whatever enemy is coming towards me, a box or something in the background, I just kind of boop, and it just sort of hits them in the back of the head.
You're a freaking Jedi.
Yeah. And it kind of feels good as far as, because I haven't done combat encounters, but with the gun I got, just reloading it and that kind of stuff feels good. You play a background, you kind of with the vibrations and stuff feels good. It's putting it in and all that kind of stuff, and
it feels kind of immersive.
Yeah, I messed around. I tried it. I couldn't tell exactly with it. I didn't count the bullets, but it did that way. I remember something that's really cool and makes general sense. When you drop a clip with if there are bullets left in it, you just lose it.
Nice.
I think that's the way it works. I tried it with one bullet and it looked like it. Yeah.
So like you need to actually reload the gun, not just like
You want to kind of plan it out. So if you drop something and there are bullets in there, those couple bullets are just gone.
That's cool. I like that a lot.
I did have to shoot. I didn't see any enemies. I don't know I can't remember what they're called because again, not a Half-Life guy. There's these things that hang from the ceiling with very long tongues.
Yeah.
And if you get trapped in them, I tried to test things out because like, okay, early in the game I can do this. Because I did the whole not teleport, but you point the thing where you want to do and it kind of moves you quickly there.
I mean, they just call it blink. I mean,
the blink. The blink movement.
Teleport's a good description too. So,
but it doesn't teleport you in the way of that. Like because I did it and the tongue thing was in the way, and it got me, and I was going.
Okay, so you can't just go through something.
Yeah,
you have
which
to,
good.
Yeah, no,
yeah. So like that, I was like, oh no, shoot the thing until it dropped me. Like, oh fuck.
Yeah. So I mean, how have you liked the actual getting around and everything controls of this compared to? I know you've actually played like at least Saints and Sinners and other. Like I know you've played other walking around VR shooter games, but
with Saints and Sinners and Hitman, I can just walk around with the stick like normal movement.
Yeah.
Here I need to do the blink. I tried it with the walking and I can't do it.
the little bit I play, I'll get to my impressions and I'll be like, yeah, same. So it was pretty bad. But when I tried to walk around normally.
But I think the whole blinking thing's fine. It's obviously a concession for it.
Yeah.
But that's just what has to happen in VR right now, especially with my laptop.
I mean, it was the same with I have a high-end PC, yeah.
But that's just kind of also, I think it's safe to say my VR, like, I can handle VR better than you.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
So maybe if I had a stronger thing, I could do that because I know people can.
Yeah, you probably could handle it. Yeah. Like, it would be, if you went and played it on my laptop, it would be probably easier on your head than the lower fidelity.
But the playing thing's fine. There's some weird awkwardness about as far as where I'm facing stuff, and I want to kind of like, for the sake of immersion, kind of get like in a better position or whatever. That could be a little awkward at times, but I feel like I'm getting better as far as that stuff as I'm getting used to it.
That's good. Yeah.
So, not too far right now. Story seems fine. It's nothing too crazy right now, but more impressions for everything as I get farther in it. So only like an hour and a half in.
Obviously, it's going to be the thing. I'm interested to see like how much you can get out of the story knowing nothing about Half-Life, but it seems like a game that even if you get nothing out of the story, it'll just be seeing what it does for VR will be the more interesting.
And I'm hoping that's enough for me. We're like, okay, I kind of want to play Half-Life.
It'll probably
now.
still be cool. Yeah, it'll probably,
Let me get into this world now.
Yeah.
Let's finally do it. Let me get on the Half-Life 3 train.
I mean, it's a pretty common thing nowadays to get into a game way late into the series and fall in love and still be able to go back. Like everyone played The Witcher 3 first, and you're still fine. Everyone played Red Dead Redemption 2.
I did. Yakuza in general.
Yakuza, most people probably did not start at the very beginning.
So let's talk about your experience with this, Darby.
Yeah, I don't have that many. I just want to say, like, I guess my VR legs, I don't think had ever really been really tested that much.
Yeah, because I've been playing, like you mentioned Saints and Sinner, I mentioned Hitman and stuff. You haven't really played that stuff too much. You mainly stick to Beat Saber, and I throw you into the stuff for like a couple minutes.
Yeah, I played like Beat Saber and Super Hot and stuff, and that's like about the end.
You played like 1.5, 2 hours of Resident Evil, probably that.
Oh yeah, and that kind of was making me sick a little bit too. So I haven't really played any like moving around the environment world game. Obviously Astrobot, but but all the games I've played, you've been pretty stationary, in one area moving around or whatever. This is the first time I've really done anything that had like the blinking stuff or whatever, which I've always thought like sounded weird and like I wouldn't really like, and like definitely sure enough I got in there and it's like, this just like it just like rips me out of the experience when I'm just like, all right, come over here, and I'm like, I'm just like blinking around, like I kept blinking into a wall, and then I'm like, god damn it, all right, fuck shit. Like I don't know, like just the general conceit of like getting around the world like that is just like, I don't know, it pulls me out of the experience. I like for all the other immersion good stuff, like that was just like kind of like I know there's really no good option, there's no good way around it, but it just kind of makes me feel like, okay, until they figure this out, which is probably never, I think the VR games I'm going to want to play are more interesting.
Experience type things.
Yeah, or experience types, or even just things that are built for, like, I mean, like an Astrobot. It's built for, like, you are looking down into a thing and they're doing interesting stuff with the 3D space. But, basically, I don't think I want to play open world RPG or open environment shooter RPG type stuff in VR. I just don't really feel like it's made for it very well to me. At least for what I'm looking for. And then the other, honestly, way more important part of this was it made me sick as hell. Like, I felt horrible after I got out.
Yeah, so, yeah, again, the difference between how we both can handle VR. I played for an hour and a half. I was fine. I could keep on going. My game glitched out for a second when I tried to do something, and it was just kind of like frozen there or whatever. And that was making me sick because I can move my head, and it's like a screen was just moving, and it was just kind of pulsating. It's like, nope, this it's messing up. It's not supposed to. It's like, no, that's not doing it for me. But I could play this game probably a couple hours easy.
yeah. I mean, that was... I didn't realize... I knew that I was getting a headache and, like, felt somewhat woozy while playing it, but part of it was also, like, I was having a very hard time getting the headset to a comfortable position. I was, like, loosening tight, and I'm like, God fucking damn it.
Something I kind of forgot until I put it on, which you might need to figure out. You can adjust the two lenses on it, like move them closer together or farther apart. That might help you.
That might help, because there was...
I kind of forgot about that when we were...
I just could not get that thing to be comfortable. I was getting so frustrated. It was like, it was either...
Yeah, next time you do mess around with that might help you.
That might help some. But, yeah, so, like, when I got done with it, I was walking around, and I was, like, kind of woozy. I'm like, Jesus Christ, okay, like, I was like, if that's how I'm going to feel every time I play this, I'm good. Yeah, I'm done. And I had to make a decision because I was under the 2-hour mark for the Steam VR, for the Steam refund thing. It was like, if I try it again, I'm probably going to go over it and then won't be able to get my $60 back. So I'm like, I'm just going to do it now. So I got the refund. Sad. I know, but like, I already like didn't really like the whole moving around thing in VR, and it made me very sick. So like that double whammy, I'm like, I'm good. I'm gonna pull out of this experience. So sadly, I will not be able to have that Spoilercast with you, but you're welcome. Or I can have it with you. You're welcome to just...
I can tell you all the cool, crazy stuff.
I know what happens at the end of this game, at least, but yeah.
I don't think I do. Or if I heard, I just don't know context.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm excited to...
You're not going to understand the context just like I did. I had to have it explained to me, but it is cool. Yeah.
I'm excited.
Oh, yeah. I also know what happens at the end of Resident Evil Village. See, it's kind of cool when you get to walk around and you know everyone else is super excited for the game. It's like, I'm not gonna spoil it. I mean, I'm excited. I want to see what you think. You know,
try to get to that at some point. Balancing too many games. I kind of partly did Alyx so to kind of have something along with your experience of it.
Yeah. Because you now have like 5 games that you're talking about.
Yes. And I will continue to add more.
We gotta get all the near weapons, right?
Yes.
Oh wait, you beat that since the last podcast, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah. So was it good? Like, how was that ending?
It was good. Yeah. I just kind of figured I wouldn't go too much into it until I got at least for a couple of the endings, the wild ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, stay tuned then. Stay tuned for more of your thoughts. But until then, let's do some news. News jingle.
Jingle, jingle, jingle. Darby.
The Kong is loose.
Yes. So yeah, there's some nice rumors and stuff. So I'm gonna read at least some of this to get the context to it, because I feel like this has gone a little more under the radar. So yeah. This comes from Damian McFerrin from Nintendo Life. Let's see. Okay, it starts out with this explaining Donkey Kong and his history, blah blah blah. Mentioning the last Donkey Kong game was Tropical Freeze. However, there are rumors that Nintendo is looking to resurrect the series by bringing it in-house, with development currently underway at Nintendo EPD, the team responsible for Super Mario Odyssey. YouTuber Lonely Goomba has mentioned the rumor in passing on social media, and other sources have also discussed it, but Nintendo Live can confirm that it has heard the same rumor from an independent and very trusted source, which was which would appear to lend this report some degree of legitimacy. However, our source claims that the game will be 2D or 2.5D per and not 3D. So I think it was something that was cropped out of here. Only Goomba mentioned that it was a 3D Donkey Kong game, as far as what we do, and you would potentially think that. This rumor is also backed up by recent comments made by leaker Zippo. It's the Big 8's 40th anniversary. While I'm not sure how Nintendo's celebrating the occasion, there's a new 2D Donkey Kong game being developed by EPD Tokyo. Retro was obviously busy with other things, so Nintendo is taking it upon themselves to bring DK back in an eternal series. Don't expect the country moniker to return, as EPD Tokyo not interested in making a sequel to games they didn't make. Diddy, Cranky, and the Kremlin crew should all be returning in this installment. It sounds like this game is launching before the end of the year, and E3 announcement seems very likely.
So lots of emotions.
Lots of stuff. And I will say, as far as this stuff here, I trust in Nintendo Life as far as the general stuff that they heard stuff from a potential leaker, because John from formerly a Game Explain, who's obviously knows some stuff and generally trust his opinion and stuff, works for this company, Nintendo Life now. So there is that. Zippo has known stuff in the past. He can be a little hit or miss, though. Some things got right, some things got wrong. So, as far as like throwing grains and salt out there, just for this part.
Yeah, obviously grains of salt. Though we will speak as if this was true, and if this was true. And I have very complex thoughts, because it's like in a vacuum, I think that they're making kind of maybe a different turn for Donkey Kong or whatever, making a modern 3D Donkey Kong. It's like, what could that mean, in the same way that like Odyssey kind of took some of the old 3D Marios and like brought it into the modern age or whatever. It's like that in a vacuum, I think could be really cool, like if you had because I don't even know what it would look like exactly, because I don't think you could look at Donkey Kong 64 or something and be like, that, it's like, I think it's going to be like, or any Donkey Kong in the past. It's like, there's no Donkey Kong in the past that like, in the same way that like Mario was like referencing this, I feel like this would be even more of a drastic, like, we're going somewhere with this, which could be very cool in a vacuum. But all of that better come with the caveat that Odyssey 2 is also being made somewhere by someone else.
That's always the bummer. And as far as the general idea of this team making a Donkey Kong game, that's not too surprising potentially, just because, well, you look at New Donk City, the name, and the fact all the Donkey Kong references and the street names and all that kind of stuff. It's like, they care about this franchise, as much as it, they're fans and potentially would want the game. Pauline. But again, I do want an Odyssey 2, because there's a lot there they could do. And as far as some of the rumor and stuff, because the initial thing said it was 3D. That's the only thing. The other two, Zippo and Nintendo Life Source, has said this is apparently a 2D game. Which is kind of more of a mixed feeling thing, because if they, no matter what they did with that, I'd love it. I love Tropical Freeze. I'm not gonna be like, because that game came out 7 years ago, like, we just got Tropical Freeze or something like that. That's the reason we shouldn't get it. But I feel like, generally speaking, I feel like Nintendo, based on past games, they do wackier and crazier ideas with 3D platformers than they do 2D. And we get a lot of 2D platformers, including the indie space and everything. We get a lot of like 2D platformers and 2D games and all that kind of stuff, where we don't get too many like high quality, big budget 3D platformers.
I mean, just kind of in general, not even Nintendo.
So we pretty much get it from Nintendo, and then we get like Crash. That's about the extent of it.
And Psychonauts 2, baby!
Of course, my man. But yeah, so that'd be kind of a bummer if one of the big teams that generally consistently make 3D platformers went to a 2D game, regardless of the property of it. I'm like, honestly, again, I would love Odyssey 2, but if they came out and did a crazy 3D Donkey Kong, I'd be fucking ecstatic.
Yeah, and if it was on the same level of quality and imagination,
I would love to see what they could do with Donkey Kong.
That'd be sweet. Yeah, I mean that's what. Yeah, I think this could be really cool and everything. I hope that this is not like they're coming down off of Odyssey, so they want to make a smaller 2D type thing or whatever. Which you see a lot of like developers kind of ping pong after they do something really big that tears their life apart for a few years. They want to make something very, smaller scale. And I mean, it could always be that, like, I mean, maybe they're doing this, and it could always be that another team is making Odyssey 2 or something, or just the next 3D Mario. I mean, like, the 3D Mario is being made somewhere.
And I think another thing that can potentially, just me thinking about it, could add some credence to this, or increases likelihood. Is, we kind of been saying for over a year now, like, okay, we're probably, if the Odyssey 2, we should see it soon. Because it's been close to 4 years since that game came out.
Wow.
And partly because they're like, okay, yeah, this will be a sequel, so it will reuse assets and all that kind of stuff. Them doing a whole new property, it makes sense potentially it would take longer. But COVID is also a thing, so even Odyssey 2 could take longer. That's something even as I'm talking about this, forget about. About this, so. Might be nothing, but something potentially.
Yeah, I don't know how to predict this. Yeah, I really don't know.
Well, if Zippo is to be believed, we'll hear about it at E3, and potentially get it this year. Which, no matter what it is, I think there is a decent chance we could see whatever that team's working on, whether it's an Odyssey 2 or a Donkey Kong game this E3.
Yeah,
because it's assuming Nintendo's going to be at E3 proper. And assuming they're going to go do their normal direct, which if they're there, why not? They're going to bring at least a couple big guns.
It's been enough time that you could believe it, coming at any time now.
Proper directs in general have one or two big announcements.
Yeah.
Big in a general sense.
Now we have some actual things to think about. It's still just like, I mean, yeah, I would love, and I think there's definitely a possibility that this becomes like, Not that Donkey Kong has been small or anything, and like I think Tropical Freeze, especially on the Switch, sold really well and everything. But like I can see this being a way that, like, I feel like generally, like in our circles or whatever, when you just kind of talk about general Nintendo, Donkey Kong might be like somewhat down the list when you'll immediately
Donkey Kong talked more about as a Mario cast member, than his series.
But I think that world, the vibe, K. Rool, the jungle, all the different environments that they've shown off and those things or whatever have potential to be something way more. And like I could see if this did have like that Odyssey level scope, that this could, like, people could actually be talking about like Donkey Kong and everything in the way to do that. And like the music, I mean, there's so many, you could make something like really
David
big
Wise,
and crazy. Yes, like it could be the like kind of a big turning point for Donkey Kong.
Actually, you kind of saying what Damiani said on Good Vibes Gaming show, because he happened to be on because they do a nightly show where they talk about the day's gaming news. Damiani luckily was on there the day this thing came out, so that was nice.
Fate.
He was kind of saying with this, yeah, this could do maybe what Zelda Breath of the Wild did for Zelda, or what Odyssey did for 3D Mario's, and did the big breakout hit. I mean, we've got that, not for every property, but we got that for most things for Switch.
Yeah, everyone's getting the next bump, and it seems like, I mean, I'm glad in some ways Nintendo's doing the opposite, but like it seems like some part of Nintendo is recognizing that everything that was old, even if it was a failure before, once it touches the Switch, it becomes gold. The Midas touch of the Switch.
Unless you took your Mirage session.
Unless you took your Mirage session. Like, they seem to recognize that, and it seems like they're like, okay, let's take this opportunity to bring back some old stuff that we're not touching to some degree. And like,
like because of that, Metroid Prime 4, if it comes out, I'd be shocked if it wasn't the best selling
it's gonna
Metroid.
Be like, that it's gonna break all the records,
because that's not a high number.
No.
Yeah. And going back to what you're saying, what Zippo said, whether it's 2D or 3D, K. Rool better be in this game.
Yeah, I think
K. Rool. It's time that they have a K. Rool comeback. He hasn't been in a game proper since 64. Like, if I'm not mistaken, and with Smash and everything, it is time.
I would expect this game to, in some ways, as far as like characters and maybe even some of the environments, I think it would almost be like a Donkey Kong reboot. I think they would include a lot of classic stuff, but just in a modern looking world. Like, I think it would probably be a more classic Donkey Kong story with like K. Rool and like some of the people you'd expect. Like, I doubt it would be like, and a crazy new villain or something. It could be, but like, I would kind of expect it to be more of a like, we're gonna treat this like you've never played a Donkey Kong game, and like, boom, here you go, you know.
And sing songs from the Donkey Kong Country TV show.
Strawberry cream pie or whatever the fuck.
Coconut cream pie,
Coconut cream pie.
Yeah. Nah.
Ooh, baby.
I'm excited for the potential of this, and just obviously what this team's doing in general, and hopefully Zippo's right, no matter what it is, and we see it at E3.
And again, all this is great and all, but if Odyssey 2 is not being made, then we're gonna riot. So, you know.
I mean, naturally. If only I could segue into a Riot Games news story, but unfortunately, they're not doing anything that I can think of.
Could they be buying Warner Brothers? No.
Who knows? So yeah, what this actually came out today. You know, we try to record on Sunday. Usually we end up recording on Monday, but we don't always get
Especially
news
lately,
on that Monday, despite it being a weekday. We actually got something here today that is, in a general sense, big, but we don't have too much to go off of. Pretty much, AT&T is technically selling Warner Brothers, Warner's Media, and then Warner Media is merging with Discovery.
Yes.
So
Not just the games, the whole daggone company.
yeah, so Discovery now technically, you know, TLC and that kind of, the Food Network people now own DC Comics.
I was gonna say, like, I don't know much about Discovery. Like, what does Discovery own? Like, I know Fox and Disney and all this other, like, I completely would believe that Discovery is like huge, and I just don't know their stuff. I just don't know what they own.
When you think of reality TV, like TLC and stuff, the Food, that tends to see. But
are they in like movies and stuff like that? Or is it really just like
not really? It's just more TV
or games.
Stuff.
Like that's the other concerning thing.
Yeah, not really. Yeah. So pretty much the way this ties into games, because this is a gaming podcast, is according to Julia Alexander from IGN. She tweeted this earlier today. Let's see. Yeah, in relation to this, the sale includes some of Warner Brothers Interactive / Warner Brothers game, but not all. That mentions DC Comics the sale does include DC Comics, so that is going to Discovery. And also part of games, Rooster Teeth is part of the sale. Yes, so Rooster Teeth's also going to be part of Discovery.
Weird.
Let's see.
Yeah, TV shows.
She said she was going to ask about what game studios are including the sale, but hasn't gotten a word back. And same thing with Stephen Totilo from Kotaku. Pretty much saying the same thing. Yeah, some will say with AT&T and some will go with the new company, because it's pretty much making a new company with this merger.
Very weird.
Yeah, so I brought the way I brought up the door, because he apparently had not heard this today. Yeah. Was, well, you know how we were talking about Warner Brothers selling their game studios a couple months back? Well, and they said they weren't. That's technically true. They were selling the whole damn thing.
Everything.
The whole company. All of Warner Brothers.
This is a weird on a bunch of levels. I mean, obviously, I think the weirdest thing is that they're not all going over, and the fact that like AT&T, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know, they're such a big company, who knows, but it seems like the only gaming things they had were under Warner Brothers. It was
pretty much the way this whole thing happened, and this is the craziest thing, because I don't know if you remember, they brought Warner Brothers like 3 or 4 years ago.
AT&T has been like buying things recently. They've been like,
and they lost a ton of money here. A lot of money. They did not get nearly as much as they invested by buying Warner Brothers with this deal. So they pretty much just going to their normal like cable phone plan shit. Now that's what they're staying with. AT&T, yeah. Besides, depending what the game studios they keep, which they might, people are kind of talking about the ones they keep might just be sold off separately.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I would be worried about like so what are they gonna do with those? Because they don't even seem like a company that has like a gaming arm or like care about that.
Unfortunately,
whatsoever.
because it goes into non-gaming major league game companies, it's hard to know precedents and stuff from my knowledge. But I imagine just kind of reading on this and what it looks like AT&T, the reason they're doing this, they'd probably just get rid of them.
Yeah, but I mean,
separately.
yeah, I'm like hinting at the like that usually would spell bad news if you're like one small part of this big company that has like no priorities towards what you do at all, and you're just kind of left over from something else. That is prime. What's this thing on our spreadsheet that's losing money? Click, like get this shit out of here. Like that's like you are prime candidate.
There are multiple ways that you're saying like once the Discovery CEO looks this like, what's NetherRealm? Fuck that. It wouldn't be NetherRealm, but that's what's well known. But going with NetherRealm, are they one that's technically sticking with AT&T right now? Are they going to get sold something else? Or are they going to be separated from Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, I was about to say because a lot of NetherRealm might own Mortal Kombat, but at the very least, like the DC stuff is obviously that's like very tied to.
As far as I know, Warner Brothers owns them, so they own Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
I mean, they could make a deal.
Yeah.
That's not out of the realm of possibility. But a more likely potentially sad scenario, Rocksteady could get sold off. They would be separated from DC stuff, which is what they're known for.
And what they're still currently making.
Yeah, what they're currently making.
And I mean, I don't think you'd have to worry about like that project gets canned because of this.
No,
like, they would come to an agreement. Yeah.
Yeah, and who knows when we'll hear about this stuff, like what's actually happening with the game studios. And also, important thing to, I guess, remember is whatever is happening with this probably won't take an effect until like maybe this time next year, because this is going to be just like with Disney and Fox that took forever. Microsoft and Bethesda, Zora Cinemax, that took months as well.
Right.
So it's probably going to be something like that.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of these things will, like all this stuff's not going to stop suddenly.
No, everything's going to go as normal
until
like, that point, and who knows how much will change, if at all, during then. Though I feel for people, employees of Discover and WB, because with this, they're almost always layoffs.
Oh yeah,
whether it's the gaming ones or not, that's just always yeah.
I mean, again, half the time you really do see a giant merger like this happen, and then almost immediately, like very quickly after, they start getting rid of the things they just bought, because like. Again, they bought this giant package deal. It's like there's little pieces. Like to us, this seems like a big deal, but to them, that's just like okay, we have it now. This is losing money.
Yeah. So I was looking up when you were mentioning like what do Discover own. There is a graphic of literally what all stuff is going to be under this new merger with the properties from WB and Discover and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure people can maybe look at like Warner Brothers. The Warner Brothers side in particular, and like, okay, what kind of big thing do you think would be there is not there?
Yeah.
Because, I don't say like NetherRealm be on there. It had like DC and HBO and Warner Brothers proper and all that kind of stuff. And Cartoon Network was on there. So.
But the last week tonight, making fun of AT&T jokes, will he'll have one final one.
Like, now you can make fun of 90 Day Fiance.
He'll probably join in with I don't know. He could do funny things with it. I would love if he just like appeared on some shitty reality show.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll make some joke about it this upcoming week.
It would be great.
That's how small. So, yeah. That is the thing. It's kind of a small nothing. I mean, it's huge in a general sense for a gaming thing. Kind of nothing right now.
Yeah.
But obviously, as news come out for this,
and unpobble. It's like there's really we have no way of knowing right now.
People are like, maybe AT&T's keeping mobile studio shit, like the mobile studios. Who knows?
Yep. And it's like, are they gonna keep the big shit because like NetherRealm makes money, so we're gonna keep that, or is it? Is that gonna be the opposite?
About it. I've seen people make arguments for NetherRealm being kept by AT&T or being part of the new company because they're big. Yeah,
but the problem with NetherRealm is like they're so tied to their IP too in a way that it's like, and they're a very creative studio, but they're not really make their own thing studio. Obviously, Mortal Kombat they made, but it's like so old at this point. I mean, it's like that is an IP that's running or whatever.
No,
like they so much of NetherRealm's notoriety is made from, let's have the craziest crossovers we can possibly imagine. It's like, we're going to take all these popular things, Alien versus Predator, we're going to have Terminator, RoboCop, all this, which is dope. I mean, it's awesome. They know what they're good at, and they know what's hype, and they like playing with these big properties and playing with that nostalgia and everything. So it kind of feels like they need to stick with Warner Brothers in this situation, or they're going to lose something, you know. I don't know.
Now they can have the shark from Shark Week.
There you go. See, Injustice will be dead, and you'll never get King Shark or anything in there, but you'll get the shark from Shark Week. You're fine.
Real talk, thinking about that, if Injustice League did happen, King Shark could actually happen.
Oh, very, yeah. I would kind of expect him at this point.
Yeah, a different big brute, that generic bad guy.
Especially since they already did a lot of deep cuts in the previous one. They're gonna have to dig even deeper, and he's being in a bunch of things now. So yeah,
you can replace Bane with him. Bane's been in 2. I'm shot Bane wins in 2.
I could easily see him being back just because this Batman is.
Please no. I love the rosters, but it's a little bat heavy.
I could even see Bane being in there in a Marvel versus DC game where it's less DC characters.
I would not be happy.
It's still probably going to be like a third Batman.
You got the Hulk right there. Just
I agree. But Jeff, Hulk versus Bane, the kids will love it.
Fuck the
kids. Well, you heard Jeff. We got him. Fuck them kids. Jeff, man.
That's a great Michael Jordan said. Okay, time to think about PSVR 2, Derby. I don't know how much we're able to get out of this.
That's the old shit. We Oculus boys now.
We are, but we can still talk about it.
Okay. I suppose.
According to Upload VR, PSVR 2 will reportedly include 4K display, eye tracking, haptic feedback, and more. Yeah, so pretty much we kind of knew some of the shit, but it's gonna have a bunch of more fancy shit. Looks like it will do kind of the tracking thing, kind of like the Oculus does.
Yeah.
So the less the camera stuff, but still be wired, unfortunately. But in general, I love the sound of haptic feedbacks in those controllers.
Yes, yeah. Especially seeing what they did with the DualSense. Like, it seems like that would almost be more at home in VR. Mm-hmm. Not that the DualSense is bad there, but I'm just saying, like, it would really add something to there. Yeah, I generally, I do think the PSVR 2, jokes aside, will be a much, much better product, because I think it's being made from the ground up to be this. Like, the VR was the first one. It was very early on in this tech. It was basically like the first cheaper VR set. Like, it was the first reasonably priced VR set or whatever. So they were having to make a lot of concessions for it to be that cheap, and using move wands that were not at all made for it, and they had to just kind of make it work. Yeah. I think the PSVR 2 will be much closer to your Oculus Quests of the world, even though I do still think that it's going to be lesser than in some ways.
Yeah. Also, something important to note: it will still be wired, but it will apparently only be one single USB-C cable instead of the whole hulking mess.
That is a very big improvement
and all that.
Which, I mean, that's still the case for your normal Vives and Quests and not Quests and Oculus and stuff like that. The Quest is the standout one that's different. But still, when I played Half Life, I still had that plugged in. I mean, it didn't have to, I guess, but So one wire is not the end of the world.
Yeah. So big improvements overall. I don't have too much more to say. I just want to shout out VR stuff.
So the fact that we're actually getting pretty consistent news about this, I feel like
the controllers
every few weeks. Where now in your head do you think this is coming out? Because it's certainly changed a lot from a few weeks ago when we didn't think this would ever happen.
Yeah,
and to now, where is your mind at? And when
didn't they confirm that it was not coming this year though?
Yeah, I'm not even saying this year, but I'm just saying I feel like it's not going to be that far out, because they are kind of dropping the stuff
I can see.
I legitimately like a few 2 months ago thought you will never see a Sony branded VR thing
I'm with you.
ever again in our lives.
Yeah,
and now we've gone from that to like, is this coming out like this time next year? Like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, I can definitely see. Maybe not like during quote unquote E3 time for them, but maybe in a state of play or something later this year, they just have a VR state of play. Just say, hey, we're doing a state of play. It's VR only.
Yeah.
So people don't care. Yeah. Don't bother coming watch. That's it. But do that. Show off some games. Show off Astrobot 2.
Yes.
I imagine, and all that kind of stuff, and do stuff to show. Yes, this is why this is a much improved VR headset, and why this actually is potentially comparable to competitors.
I mean, are you like definitely expecting next year?
I think so.
I think so too. I mean, I could see it being after that, but I think they're talking about it too much.
Yeah.
Like, if it had just been the one drop, like, hey, we're doing this, bye. And
well, I think it's more to say that this is like a leaked thing from Upload VR.
I know, but it's just like the things keep coming, and they did show the controllers themselves. I'm not even necessarily talking about this, like,
I gotcha.
They have talked about it more than once in like a month and a half span, which for this type of shit, that's a lot, It's like,
yeah. Whoop whoop. Okay, Derry, time to talk about your favorite company, Ubisoft.
Oh yeah, me and Cassandra and the Rabbids.
Yeah. This comes from Tom Ivan from Video Game Chronicles. I kind of skipped around to get to the important bits. So this is a quote from Ubisoft's Chief Financial Officer Frederick Duguet. In line with the evolution of our higher quality lineup that is incredibly diverse, we are moving on from our prior comment regarding releasing 3 to 4 premium AAAs. Not games, just AAAs.
AAA
batteries.
AAA batteries
per year. And after the fact, it's pretty much them saying, yo, less AAA games. And then Ubisoft told Video Games, no, that's not the way it's going to work. And then it goes on pretty much saying, yo, more free-to-play shit. So Ubisoft pretty much to their investors meeting like, less, or at least sounded like, less AAA, more free-to-play, which made some investors like, and yeah, it seems like, and then they came back afterwards like, no, still have our AAAs, but we're also doing free to play, which also feel like, okay.
So like AAA, like having big giant AAA games is like the more conservative option here. I don't know. It's just
what I found very funny about this, is the fact that investors are now apparently weary of free to play when that used to be that was kind of the shit for.
And it's still kind of like fluctuates because like these investors don't know what the fuck they're doing. Like,
yeah, well, I think investors like then at least the Ubisoft investors are kind of smarter in a way of like at least to be hesitant because not all free to play will succeed.
You should be like
because it sounded like for a little bit there with the free to play and games as a service stuff, people are like, oh, we do this, we're just gonna roll in the money. We don't need to worry about anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of turning around. Some.
Maybe slowly they're learning because I mean it's almost like you can't just say like this is this type of game, therefore success. Like it's almost like it doesn't work that way because like I feel like a bunch of these investors you could go in there and give a whole pitch about look at Fortnite, look at this or whatever. Free to play games are the way to go. And then you could like walk out of the room and someone else, and they could be like, yep, money. You could walk back in and have an entire pitch about how free to play games are too risky and they're a bad thing or whatever. And look at the Call of Duty model with the yearly releases or whatever. And they'd be like, Like, I feel like these investors, you can just make them think whatever the fuck you want. Because they don't actually know what they're talking about like most of the time. I don't know. Just like Ubisoft either going like, we're gonna churn out a bunch of carbon copy AAA games versus we're gonna do a bunch of free to play games and microtransactions. Both avenues kind of put me to sleep.
Yeah. But I'm very curious what road they're going to take with the free to play because they announced the Division Heartland, which is going to be free to play. And like, if you're gonna do that, yeah, Tom Clancy, anything, whatever, that makes sense.
You'll probably just, I mean, because this is the Ubisoft. Every time they make a decision, they do it. They can't just, they don't just do it and try it once. They just do it. So you'll probably see systematically every one of their properties will get a free to play version. You'll get a Far Cry free to play. Like
Assassin's Creed
thing, Assassin's Creed free to play thing. Like
we'll somehow get a Beyond Good and Evil one before Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Yeah. And somehow they're all going to be carbon copies of each other.
Yeah.
Like Ubisoft works in formulas. It's a machine that you just add the formula to it and it applies it to all of their franchises.
Yep.
Like an open world map checklist. Boom, 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 boom. Now it'll be like, yeah, free to play versions. Boom, 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 boom. Again, some people enjoy it, not me, but some people enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of their games, I could just add it here. This was another news, but it makes sense here. But I'll get to that part.
Change.
Yes. Well, they talked about like games they are releasing, and they mentioned the games coming out before March 31st, 2022. So within this upcoming fiscal year.
Yes.
Saying that Far Cry 6 and Rainbow Six Quarantine, they are still keeping the name Quarantine.
Surprised.
Yeah.
Honestly,
are
shocked.
apparently coming out by September 30th.
Of this year?
Apparently, according to them. So sounds like we'll see more of them at E3.
Yeah, you would,
and then they will get release dates.
They must, yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of have
Very
to.
quick.
Yeah, have to.
Plus Riders Republic, which I cannot for the life of me remember what that actually is. It's a snowboarding game. The Division Heartland and Roller Champions are coming out within the next fiscal year, not necessarily before September 30th, maybe afterwards. And also that Skull and Bones has been delayed past this fiscal year.
Pour one out, it's just
Yeah.
sad day for Don,
I'm actually very curious. Not in the way I want to play it, but I'm very curious what the game is going to be once we actually see it again.
I think I think it's gonna change in some way.
It's going to be a very different game from when we last saw it, because that was like 3-4 years ago, something like that.
Yeah. I think it always would have been a fun game, but I think it was a ship combat game, and I honestly think they probably should have just stuck to their guns and released the damn thing. It probably would have been good. It would have been more niche, I guess, or whatever. But even then, I think the people on Twitter are I think a lot of people on Twitter that clowned it for only being a ship combat game, most of them are not going to buy it when it comes back out as whatever else it's going to be. You know what I mean? I think sometimes I think a lot of these developers should listen to Twitter less. Because I
feel it. Well, as far as Skull and Bones, as well as for going where you're saying, maybe should have kept to their vision, because I think it is Twitter that kind of
a For Honor type thing is what I saw this being as.
But depending what it is, maybe not be so gung ho on the $60, depending, because I can't remember what Skull and Bones exactly how it played or anything. Can't remember impressions, all that, because I know we had them. But if it was very intricate, teamworky.
That's
ship
what
combat.
it looked like to me.
Yeah.
That's what it
then
looked like.
maybe that should be worth $60. But it was kind of more basic, maybe. Still be fun, of course.
Yeah.
But more that maybe they could have lowered it to $30-$40.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, for what I remember, and I honestly don't remember people's impressions of actually playing the game, but whenever I saw the trailers and everything, it always it looked like this is over my head, but cool. It looked like ship combat. It's because people are like, oh, I think, again, the Twitter thing. I think a lot of people was like, oh, it's Black Flag. And the second they realized it's not Black Flag, they were angry.
Yeah.
And it's okay, yeah, that group of people might be angry on Twitter, but there might be a whole other group of people that's oh, fuck, I didn't know I wanted this. It's shit.
I definitely saw that. And I saw people oh, Black Flag ship combat, which there's some people
more
the best part of the game.
That is the game. Yeah. That's the whole game.
I think that was some people's favorite part of Black Flag, which some people's favorite Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah,
it's just that people were excited for that.
Yeah, similar Squadrons. Some people are Squadrons is Star Wars Squadrons is amazing because it's completely dedicated focus to ship combat. It's not trying to be space combat. It's not trying to be anything else, but it is the most sophisticated Star Wars space thing or whatever you ever have. And that's what this could be and it looked I mean, it looked like the type of thing that like people can get good at. It's more of a competitive game than like what it struck me as, more so than a story running around as a pirate game. It looked as you need to hone your skills of like ship combat, and like it's a very particular set of skills, which to me honestly sounds kind of cool. It sounds very interesting and different and unique and everything. And I'm kind of worried that when it comes back out, it's gonna have been beat down into it's AAA game. It's like going around.
That's not like what people wanted, but based on what they said with the thing other than ship combat is gritty Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, basically.
Maybe a little more emphasis on.
For all the jokes aside, I am interested. And I'm just morbidly curious to see what it comes out looking like.
Yep. Okay, Dari, time to talk about your favorite summer showcase last year.
I ain't watching it live again. I ain't doing it. You can't make me.
For the content, this comes from Jordan Alleman from IGN. Media Indie Exchange has revealed this year's Guerilla Collective Showcase, which will take place across the first 2 Saturdays in June. Show kicks off on June 5th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, the only time that truly matters, and then returns on June 12th at the same time. 2021's Guerilla Collective events will offer wide-ranging game footage, guests, and news-filled showcases. This year's show will feature over 80 games from studios such as 505 Games, Innersloth, Fellow Traveler, Good Shepherd, Tiny Build, Thunderful, Super Hot, and more. A Black Voices in Gaming segment will follow the show on June 5th, returning from last year's show. This part of the stream will highlight Black voices in the game industry and spotlight games made by Black developers with Black protagonists. On June 12th, the main showcase will be followed by the Wholesome Direct. This mini showcase will feature over 75 cute and cuddly titles that has been organized by the Wholesome Games community. This seems sounding a little more focused maybe than last year's.
Yeah, I mean, last year had zero focus whatsoever. Yes. So, I agree. I hope they've learned from something.
Because I want this thing to exist. I think this is a good thing to exist, and why I did not sit through it like you did. I had to do more than you. I had to count.
You probably overall,
I had to count new games or some shit, which was something. I do want a giant thing that's kind of wanting to focus on the smaller generally indie games. Yes, I want that, but it definitely needs to be more focused. It didn't need to have Haven in 3 different conference showcases within your one overarching thing. It sounded like this might be it because it's only 2 days, and it sounds like there's a main show both days, and then a more dedicated focus thing right afterwards.
Yeah, it does sound like they're showing signs of learning the lesson or whatever. It just needed way more of a guiding hand. It was just, I mean, that's part of the problem. I mean, anytime you have one of these showcases, you're going to have like so many people wanting to show their games because there's so many developers out there, so many games or whatever. So like your inbox is going to be flooded anytime you do any of this. And the big like E3s, Microsoft press conferences or whatever, like they're big dogs. They know that, and they've been doing this for years. And it's like, okay, we have an hour and a half, 2 hour showcase or whatever. And it's like, we are trying to sell this big console. We are going to say no to a lot of people. It's like, it's going to be like, we're going to do market research on this. We're going to like find out. We're going to like, we know what needs to be shown, what doesn't. When you have one of these smaller up and comer thing and you're marketing it to be an indie showcase, you are going to have thousands and thousands of people trying to get into this. And you have to be able to say no. Yeah. And I think last year they did not do enough of that. I think last year it's like, everyone's welcome. Everyone come in. But at some point, you are hurting yourself by offering too many people in. You're like, you have diminishing returns. At some point, everyone is getting less exposure because you said yes to too many, if that makes sense. It's like even the good stuff is not getting shown out like in everything because there's just too much to sift through. Yeah, and even then there's still a lot of games here because they're saying 80 games, but at least I'll be separated between 2 showcase a week apart. Yeah. Kind of be I guess pre-E3 kind of thing pretty much. Unfortunately, like even if we decided to like, okay, maybe we will react to this, we will not be able to because we'll be at the Beast during one, and then the next one. Well, you can if you want to. I know I'll be at work. I doubt it. Yeah, being honest, I doubt it. Yes, I'm very curious. Like, I guess we might get a new Among Us map. Who knows? That could be. Yeah.
Inner Sloth.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Among Us.
Amogus.
Pokemon 591.
What?
Type in Pokemon 591. I hope I got the number right. I think that's it.
Is this gonna be a sex thing?
I hope not. I hope you don't think it's a sex thing. Just look at the beautiful boy, Darby.
It's Among Us. This is Among Us.
Yeah.
This man is Among Us. Can people see the man or whatever? You can continue.
Okay, I'll continue.
There's the man. Look at that boy. That is.
We have Among Us.
I'm kind of mad that you know the fucking number for the 591st Pokemon that has this name.
I blame Alpharad.
God damn
They
it,
kept
Jim.
on memeing it.
There's something wrong with
They said it so many times, it's stuck in my brain.
something wrong.
Okay, let's talk about Mario Golf. We got it.
So what number Mario title is this, Jeff?
937.
That could be true.
I think I lowballed it. But anyway, we got the Mario Golf overview trailer. When's this game coming out? It's trailer. We just watched that thing, but I forgot when it actually came out.
I only retain things for 3 minutes, so.
This is true. You forget my name. You have to ask me my name constantly. June 25th. So I guess the potential good news is for you people who do not care about this game, it should take up limited space in Nintendo's E3 Direct.
Yeah.
Just kind of a, hey guys, it's coming out.
Go buy this next week. Bye.
Yeah. No. Which they are known to do with these kind of Mario spin-off titles that tend to come out at that time.
Yes.
But anyway, this trailer showed off a little more of the modes, revealed the whole character roster, and yeah, all that fun stuff. Some more courses, which I'm glad they did, was all the stuff they needed to do, because something that people were kind of criticizing the original trailer for, and I agreed with, the courses look very boring because they just kind of showed the normal looking golf course, maybe the sand one, but without, if I remember correctly, the obstacles. It's good
they went just green field.
Yeah. It's good they went here. Okay, normal golf course again. Oh, here's the desert with the little spiny guys going around. Here's one with the little wind guys from Odyssey blowing things. Yeah. Oh, here's Bowser's Castle.
Yeah.
That was a good thing.
There's definitely is shown more of the heart in this, and the like that type of stuff. I still do think that I expected this game to look prettier. I don't know if you still get that vibe. Like, it still looks budget to me. Like, I'm not saying it looks bad, but in these environments, definitely, it helped it a lot. It helped a lot seeing that these things are there. But, like, I think about Mario Kart 8 and, like, how fucking beautiful the environments of that old game are or whatever. And I look at this, and it's still, like, yeah, there's still not a whole lot going on in the background of these stages. It can kind of, and like when they're in that town, they zoom in on characters. I'm like, oof. It's like, this is like very kind of like flat colors, and very, not that they need to be that crazy for this golf game or whatever, but at the same time, it's like we've just seen what so many of these like modern Switch games like this, what Nintendo can do. Like, it would be nice to me, especially with how much fucking money all of these things make. It would be nice if I felt some, like, a little bit of that same Odyssey, Mario Kart 8 type environment.
Yeah, I think you go a long way, like seeing more of like Toad Town or some shit in the background, just the normal green.
Just more things going on in these backgrounds, like Toads in the crowd screaming, or just things going on. They still just look a little barren to me.
No, I feel you. But yeah, again, they showed off the crazy modes, or went a little more into the speed mode, which is just, you normally you take turns doing your shots and golf. Like, no, you hit it, you run in. Yoshi will summon a giant egg to walk on. King Babam will get a bunch of bombs to carry him, doing all that crazy shit. I love it so much.
Yeah, I think that is a really fun mode that like screams the Nintendo, like, we take again, like, take something like racing or like a board game or like this or whatever and like add Nintendo chaos to it, and then like that's gonna be fun.
Well, and they showed off, I think that's the first time they showed it off, a battle mode type thing where you are contesting to get holes, and the first one to get like they win the match. The only thing that I saw which is a negative to me, which it's one of those things like this might for the actual quality of the game, it just might be better or everything, but it looks like for the speed, at the very least, the special modes, the speed and battle mode, one person per console, and that could be the case for the normal golf. But I imagine for normal golf, since there's more turns, you can cycle through people.
I sincerely hope so, because I think the most people playing this game are going to want to play it couch co-op.
Yeah, so again, that's the unfortunate. It looks like for speed and the whatever mode, that won't be the case, because they shouldn't show a hint of split screen.
Yeah, that's a bummer. Yeah, if that's the case. But
I want to see a confirmation for that.
Yeah, it seems that they probably would have showed split screen, but maybe, I mean, it could be. It could still be there, but and they could just not have shown it there. But I do think that would be a decent blow to it, because I think...
Because I mentioned to you before this, like, I mean, I'm going to wait for reviews for this in general, because I enjoyed my time with Mario Tennis Aces, but it was kind of bare bones in general.
Yeah, mechanically, I think it's very good. But
it is excellent.
Missing a lot of things.
I have no doubt of the quality of the actual mechanics of this game.
Right.
But the longevity of that and all that. And if the two of the more interesting looking modes involves you and other people getting the game, then...
Might be a harder sell,
Yeah,
I agree. We'll wait and see. I mean, I think it's going to be a fun game. I have no doubt about that. But it's just like, how long is it going to last us and anyone else? Like, I kind of see this being a flavor of the week type thing. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's just, I worry that it's gonna be something you pay full price for and then kind of like barely touch.
It looks like there's a little more going on in the single player mode compared to Aces. I know that's a low bar.
The Aces was actively terrible, so I hope they've learned some lesson there.
We saw a kind of Paper Mario-esque line in there with the Star Wars reference, which I enjoy. If they mentioned, if it was filled with that, that'd be an easier sell for me in a general sense. And if I just hear it's decently long and good, then it's like, okay, that's an easier sell for me in general.
Yeah.
But again, that's where me waiting for reviews come in.
Yes. Yeah.
And maybe even wait till later, because Aces goes on sale a fair amount. I don't know how long afterwards it started, but...
Yeah, that might be a better Black Friday pickup or something, something like that.
I guess before we move on, let's talk about that roster a little bit.
Yeah.
Obviously, they have the obvious one. They have Mario, Peach. They got the spin-off gang... Waluigi, Daisy, Wario there.
Yes.
But I will mention this. I don't know if you noticed, Derby. Something I am okay with them doing again. They're starting to make Daisy's skin darker.
Okay.
Yeah, just kind of. That they started with that, then kind of made her more Peach's shade of.
What was Daisy originally in? What was the first thing she was in?
Some old.
Okay, so old. She's an old one.
Yes. I should know this. I don't know.
I don't think I ever knew that.
Old Mario 2D platformer, everything is where she originated, and then they used that to bring her into the spin-off games, and that's where Waluigi came in. It's like, okay, let's... Everyone gets the counterpart, so let's get Luigi one.
Right, okay.
And that's how that came to be. But, they got the obvious ones in there. I like how Bowser Jr. is now pretty much a mainstay in these things. I love the... I don't know if you saw his hat has the clown card design on it, face on it.
Nice, yeah. I love Bowser's. Yes. I love Bowser. He's wearing it's a very it's the kind of more flamboyant out there golfer attire that you see these some of these old golfers are wearing crazy things, because he has it's one leg is red, one leg is black, and then he has the same crazy pattern on his shirt, and he looks like a dad. It's so funny. I love it.
Yeah. Pauline seems to be a mainstay now.
Yes, that's sweet. Yeah.
So
keep that up. Keep that up for sure.
After added the Aces and now this, I'm like, okay.
And Rosalina also.
Oh yeah, Rosalina. She's now a mainstay. That's no question. Pauline's also in Mario Kart Tour, which I feel like everyone is. Dr. Goomba's in there. So I think, or that's just the regular Doctor. I don't know. But yeah, Pauline seems to be the mainstay now. Great. And then they're continuing the trend of the recent ones having kind of rotating through the rogue gallery a little bit. Charging Chuck's in there.
Yeah.
Which I saw a clip of his super. He literally picks up the golf ball and throws it like a football.
That's good.
And King Bob-omb's in there.
King Bob was really funny. It's
Your
really
boy
good.
Boo's in there. Not King Boo, but you got Boo.
Okay. Oh yeah, I didn't even know this, but
Yeah.
awesome.
So
Yeah, I think I really like they've been doing that. I mean, it probably didn't start with it, but the first I remember was chain chopping tennis aces, and that was like it was like, oh my god, really? That's like so bizarre, but it's so like lovable and great. So,
yeah,
like,
and then
product plan obviously.
Yeah,
and,
I'm trying to remember which one came, or as far as starting, which one came out first, Aces or Super Mario Party? Might have been Aces. I think they both came out 2018.
Yeah, they're
well. Party had Monty Mole and Goomba.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so
I love that shit.
Yeah, it's great because it gives,
if you're not going to branch out to other properties, which I'm okay with them, if they want to do that, okay. Yeah, at least use all these random and fun enemies, because them just being there is fun and stupid.
Yeah, it's always just like a kind of dumb surprise that's like, oh, what? They're in this random character.
And looking at the character select screen, it looks like they're probably going to do like Aces did and probably have little events where they add characters throughout its life. Post-launch, because they added a decent amount of characters.
Yeah, and Aces, most if not all of them were just like play a few matches and you get them. It wasn't,
or
it wasn't
get them
like
early, or if you it's like a month-long thing. If you didn't play the month or do enough at the end of the month, you just get them anyway.
You just get them anyway, yeah, which was fun.
So I'm all for them doing that again. Yeah, it's always a fun time.
Same. Rosalina looks cute. I like her.
Avi,
like she's amazing. She's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
it. I mean, everyone looks great, but Bowser and Rosalina stand out to me.
Yeah.
I mean, they're probably my two favorite characters. Oh, King Boo.
Yeah, King Boo.
The holy trifecta.
Yes.
But I do love Pauline being in there too. And like she hits the golf ball with her mic.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yep.
Good shit.
I wonder if she'd be in the potential Donkey Kong game.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Make the same Pauline. Like just cross over. It's the same universe, whatever. Just like have her,
okay.
go right over.
We're going back to this for a second. The connecting thing for the Donkey Kong game and Odyssey being from the team, you do go to New Donk City.
That would be great. That would be great. That would be awesome.
And you see Pauline.
Yeah.
All right, Darby. Well, we talked about this before when it first came up, so we might as well talk about the aftermath for it, because why wouldn't we? And that's about Disco Elysium, the final cut in Australia. It has officially attained a rating, so it's going to be unbanned. Is the gist of the story.
Yes. Which is good. I'm glad that I really honestly, with like Australia rating things, I just assume that none of these stories will end happy. It's like because they usually they have an iron fist when it comes to ruling things down there.
And I find the reason for stuff interesting. I'll read that part at least. The game's themes, mature language, and drug references were the main reasons for the title's initial rejection, but in the document explaining the decision, the board wrote that Disco Elysium offers a nuanced representation of the subject matter, which tells the storytelling to a mature audience. It added that the game doesn't necessarily encourage players to take drugs, as they eventually lead to negative effects despite a short-term benefit, which is why the board ultimately decided to approve the game. It's interesting to hear the decision for it, even if the reason they decided is kind of stupid.
Yeah. But it seems like, I mean, like someone must have like kind of fought their ass off to get this, because like that obviously the wording changed a lot. It went from this is making our kids do drugs to at least like some element of this probably legal battle back and forth made them at least change their wording.
I am very curious if this will potentially lead other developers to kind of maybe fight back a little bit.
I really hope so.
Because drugs are probably I'll use the drug example.
Yeah.
Like drugs being a reason a game not doing it is like, wait, you said this, and we're pretty much the same thing, if not, drugs aren't even as big of a thing in our game.
And so much of law with any of this stuff is precedent. So like, and then once this is set, at least in America, and I'm assuming Australia works in a similar way. Once this is set, it'll make it way easier for the next people to do that. And like, as many people have pointed out, it's like idiotic as all hell, because people are like, there's never any restrictions on movies in Australia that have drugs or any of these other adult themes. There's like yeah, everyone just knows that's an adult movie. Move on with your life. But for some reason with video games, you're not allowed to have an adult video game.
They're only for kids.
Yeah, they're all for kids. It's like, it just seems like it's such a like boomer, even older than boomer mentality of like people who don't know what the hell they're talking about. So like, yeah, I'm happy to see a win in some way. And yeah.
Well, speaking of games for children, Ghostrunner Derby.
The quintessential kids game.
Yes. You remember me talking about Ghostrunner, right, Darby? The demo I played, I really enjoyed, but didn't actually play the regular game.
I did.
I want to play that game. Well, I got more motivation too because it's getting a sequel.
Whoo, baby! Didn't that just come out last year?
Yes,
Right.
It came out late last year. I think they got bought out by another company. I can't
It
remember.
was made by one dude, right? Or at least primarily made by one dude. Or
It's a small team at the very least. I
Okay.
can't remember.
Okay.
I honestly don't remember. But yeah, it is officially getting a sequel, and the original is now sold over 600,000 copies.
Right?
I think that's very good for that game.
Yeah, close. You know, a little over $500,000 for how like it seemed like a pretty small production. So
Yeah, but I see it on sale a lot. I see Wario put that a lot. Like, I'm gonna grab it at some point.
you were juggling 5 games.
No. I'm gonna grab it at some point. I'm not gonna play it.
Think about what you just said.
I worded that poorly. I am aware.
He's honest. He knows.
We want to play it though. It's a short game, so at some point, maybe.
It definitely like, especially still like watching some videos of people who like do it without getting hit, like know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Whenever you run through it and don't get hit, it looks like crazy.
Again, at the time, and I kind of want feeling that itch. It's 3D Katana Zero, and that is fantastic.
Yeah.
You know what also might be fantastic, Darby? Starfield.
It could be.
It could be. You might be wondering, what Starfield news is there? Technically none, but there's stuff to technically talk about, so I figured why the fuck not? It's my podcast.
It is Jeff's podcast.
Mine only.
I'm just lost in the
You're
ride,
all over
ladies
the
and
show,
gentlemen. I'm
baby.
just hitching my wagon just to see where it goes.
Yeah. So yeah, we got some stuff mainly from Jeffy Grub.
Yes. Good old Jeff.
Yep. He kind of stirred the shit last week. Because he said what Phil Spencer pretty much said, and Starfield is not coming to PS5. It is going to be Xbox PC exclusive.
And it's Jeff Grubb's fault.
And he did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing. More further confirmation that Starfield looks to be definitely not coming to PlayStation now, and probably people should expect that from Bethesda games in the future, besides the ones already announced.
If it's happening with Starfield, then yeah, that's it. Because Starfield was the one that was like, okay, well, obviously this game was being made before this acquisition happened. So similar to Deathloop and Ghostwire, you could see like they were already making for Sony, so Microsoft will let them continue that. But like, yeah, if Starfield's not going
It
to
technically was not announced for PlayStation, so that's the loophole there.
No, right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that Microsoft still could have been like, okay, you're making this PlayStation SKU, because they probably were. I mean, at some point. Because, like,
what I'd be
this
very
was not,
curious to know, as far as them working on that, because technically they were not owned by Microsoft, and technically cannot make this talk and make decisions technically until that thing went through in March. That was whatever.
Yeah, around then.
Yeah. So when they were announced they were being bought by Microsoft, did they stop placing SKU there, or were they kind of working on it, being like, "There's a good chance this is not happening."
You probably can't afford to completely stop it, because, like, yeah, if it didn't go through, then you'd be like,
well, because they can't talk. I was partly getting at Microsoft, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, go ahead and continue to put it on there," because they technically could not be told to not do it by Microsoft.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I mean, like, SKUs are probably like similar enough that I don't know, but
still work.
Yeah. But so yeah, it's happening, and I think that is pretty clear indication of what we had already pretty much gotten indication of, that the whole, what Xbox going to do about cross-platform thing or whatever. I think the answer is most of the time it's not going to be. I think there's going to be exceptions, but for the most part, the stuff they bought, they're going to want to use it to make people buy their consoles.
And their service.
Which sucks. I mean, for a game, like from their perspective, it makes perfect sense. In fact, it would not make sense to do the opposite.
Yeah.
From a general gamer standpoint, it sucks because if I was, again, like we've said a bunch of times, if I was not someone who went out and spent $2,000 on a gaming PC, which is a wild, stupid, crazy, and privileged thing to do that most people cannot do. So if you just have consoles right now, if you're an average person, you're probably going to get a PlayStation because it has most of the exclusive stuff. It has like a lot of the games you're going to want to play. Like the majority of like exclusive things that are exclusive to one thing or the other are on PlayStation. You're going to get that. But if you're like a super big Elder Scrolls fan, are you sitting here? It's like, God damn it, I have to buy 2 fucking consoles just for this one game series? Like, you might not even care about any of the other Bethesda things. But, like, there are a lot of, like, super, super big Elder Scrolls fans, and I feel sorry for them. God, anytime you feel like you have to go spend $300 to play one game, that's a shitty feeling. You know, that sucks. It's like one game that was not exclusive before. And, like, the only reason it is business shit. Is, like, because people threw money around. It's like, for you, an average consumer, that kind of sucks. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm lucky that I can play it. I have an option to play it. But, you know, for console people, I understand the aggression.
Now with an Oculus, I don't think there's anything we cannot play.
Pretty much.
Any game gets announced, me and you have the ability to play.
I'm lucky that I'm roommates with someone who buys, like, every tech item. Goes for it.
Yep. Well, if that was all for Starfield, I wouldn't bring it up. But something else related to Jeff Grubb. You might have listened to this, Darby. He was recently on Kind of Funny Gamescast.
He was, yes.
And might have talked to Mr. Blessing, some would call him, apparently. Apparently, Blessing mentioned a potential time frame for Starfield being quarter 1, 2022.
Right.
Apparently, during the episode, Jeff was like, nah. If I remember correctly, that's apparently
I'm struggling to remember exactly what was.
Then at some point in the last couple of days, Jeff tweeted, "Hey, Blessing, you're right about Starfield's release date."
Yeah.
And then obviously, like everyone's like, "What did Blessing say?" Which apparently quarter 1, 2022. So it looks, because it was talked about, according to Jeff Grubb, coming out this year.
Yeah.
But apparently, naturally, COVID and it being a big game, looks like it'd be pushed back already a couple months.
Certainly makes sense.
Yes.
It already seemed pretty lofty goal to.
Yes. So, and other people have kind of pretty much said as well, expect to see this game at E3.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind now with all the rumblings and everything that, like, yeah, this game is soon, in the sense that, like I would, at this point, I would be like beyond shocked if it somehow didn't come.
We get through Microsoft conference like,
I
where's Starfield?
I was gonna say at this point I'd be beyond shocked if we somehow get through next year and it hasn't come out.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm saying, like, it's coming out by at the latest the end of next year, I think.
Yeah.
Which is not what I would have said before. I mean, I would have said that this is probably a 2023 game, but, like, now when I've heard everything, it's like, no, this game was supposed to come out this year, which is still crazy to me, but
yeah. So yeah, I'm at the point. Yeah, if we get through Microsoft's E3 thing and Starfield's not there, I'm gonna be like, what?
Yeah, I think it's clear now. Bethesda was wanting and is still going to be able to do a Far Cry, Fallout 4 type thing. It's not going to be quite as quick, but it's still going to be announced at E3, out before the next E3. You know, I think that's what they're wanting to do with Starfield, and I think that's what they are going to do.
When Microsoft learned at some point that Starfield was probably going to be done this year, if not early next year, they were salivating. Yeah, they're like the timing. Because again, if it happened a little bit later, Starfield will be coming out on PlayStation. Yeah. Because they probably would have announced it, and Microsoft would have stuck with that announcement.
Yeah, they wouldn't have wanted to go back on that. But now they get to. I mean, obviously, the actual console launch was very light for the Xbox, but now at least the Xbox, because the whole story has been Xbox is like they're having to wait for these studios they just bought to get around to having new games, but now they get to have Halo and Starfield very close. Boom.
Yeah, they very quickly get one of the biggest first-party games between Sony and Microsoft.
And it's fascinating just from a video game industry standpoint because there's so much riding on this to where it's like Xbox as a brand and a console and everything like that, and just like a brand that makes video games like finally getting a win after so long. That plus Bethesda, who is honestly kind of in a similar situation where their golden days are well behind them at this point, and they have a lot to prove to like prove haters wrong and prove that like they actually can write. Like both brands are kind of trying to use the same two games or whatever to build themselves back up to their former glory days in a way. You know what I mean? Like it's weird. Bethesda and Xbox are in like similar situations at that point. And like it's kind of like an Xbox right now, like going into this generation, they've still yet to like, we must point out Game Pass is really cool, but Xbox themselves have yet to prove wrong the like, no, you really shouldn't get an Xbox because they don't make hardly any games, and the few games they do make are nothing special. That's been true for a very long time, and they have yet to prove that wrong. Bethesda, right now, I'd be like, outside of the fact that they used to make really cool games, why on earth would I expect Starfield to be good? I mean, I just don't have an actual logical, tangible reason to tell you that it's like...
To you and other people, they had two misses in a... I mean, obviously Fallout 76, and to some people, Fallout 4 was a mess.
Yeah, Fallout 4 was like too by the books for me back then. Imagine how I would feel about it now. Would I have like multiple more years burnt out on these type of games? It's like, so it's like they both have a lot to prove with this and everything. And from a video game fan, it's fascinating. I want to see, because I really do think there's a possibility that both Halo Infinite and Starfield are pretty big disappointments too. Yeah. I think both of those games have chances of being exactly what they need for Xbox and Bethesda respectively, or just kind of another nail in the coffin. You know, it's like, I don't know. I could see it going either way, honestly. Yeah.
Be interesting. I don't know how to feel about Halo at this point. I'm curious to see it again. Starfield, who knows?
Yeah, and Halo's a weird one where it's just, I don't know how much they could have changed that in a year. You know, it's going to still be a similar game.
That's part of it.
Starfield, we've seen literally nothing, so it's hard to really, you know.
And from a Starfield perspective, it's going to be like an overall thing, because Fallout 76 had a lot of issues, but that kind of go to the party. It was a live service game.
Yeah.
And it was kind of failings as that. Yeah. And for Fallout 4, while you are far from alone being disappointed in Fallout 4, there are a lot of people that love that game.
Yes, and it sold a lot.
So it's going to be interesting to see like how people do it. And there'll be people like me who probably play Starfield because it will be on Game Pass. And I like Outer Worlds, and the reason you kind of fell off of that game was kind of similar to Fallout 4 and stuff, but I loved it. So it'll be kind of interesting to see that kind of...
Yeah, I'll definitely be trying it for that same reason, too. I love that I can just try it for free, you know, whatever. I was going to say something, but... Yeah, it's very interesting. It's going to be very, very weird to see how this all turns out. I mean, and make no mistake, I think like us on this podcast saying it's a big success or a disappointment, Starfield is gonna sell either way. I mean, it's a bit like Cyberpunk sold a ton despite it literally is still not on PS4. It's like some of these things, I think, and the Elder Scrolls is a similar way. I mean, like, I think Bethesda RPG, there's still a lot of people that are going to come out for that.
Something that'll be fun to see when Starfield comes out after its first month, how it compares NPD wise to past Bethesda games because of the whole exclusivity thing in Game Pass
and new IP.
Yeah, new IP.
Done that in a while.
For a mixture of things, we've seen it happen with other Microsoft franchises and stuff they bought and stuff, but I felt like nothing to this scale. Like none of the games have been as big as Starfield. That correct me if I'm wrong. I don't feel like any of them has been as big as Starfield that I've released really since.
No. Yeah.
So I'm curious to see.
Yeah.
what the comparison will be.
Same.
All right, Darby. Now it's time to talk about your second favorite company after Ubisoft, EA.
Ooh, this is just my podcast.
Yeah. Not a crazy amount, I guess, but EA Plays. EA Play Live, that whole thing they do. Usually around E3 time. They're like,
We kick off E3 with a banger usually.
yeah. Well, they said, fuck E3. We're doing it July 22nd.
Yeah.
Over a month later.
Get as far away, get real far away. I don't know if that's good or bad. They won't be compared. I mean, usually we stop talking about whenever we do our big E3 recap things at the end. EA's lucky if we mention them once. So
it is kind of funny seeing people the range of reactions. There's some people that are just really upset that this is separate from E3. Like the next month, like, oh, I thought everything was supposed to be at once. And then also people,
I feel like not much is lost with EA.
no,
Play.
well, that's what I was saying. Some people being like, oh, now I don't have to really think about if I'm going to watch them or not.
Yeah,
because people would watch because it's part of E3, get in the spirit, and now it's like, it's far enough away. I don't have to care about it if I don't want to.
Yeah, which is, I mean, like, yeah, probably like what any normal person should do is not watch any of these things live and just see the articles afterwards. But we're big old nerds, so we won't do that.
Fuck it.
But now I get permission to do exactly that in July.
Yes.
I'll look at the article. I'll look at the recap after the fact.
And even this year, we don't even like last year. We were kind of excited for it because we were interested in seeing what Squadrons was about and seeing some hints of It Takes Two. Well, we didn't know what to call it at the time, but Joseph Fares project, pretty much. We don't have that.
And, EA Play, I mean, there could be a surprise. I wouldn't be the most shocked if they show at least the first tease of Jedi Fallen Order 2.
True.
Not that I am over the moon about that, but
K4. Probably not.
Probably not, because
That was very early.
they said it was very early, so
I think they signed but the ink was fresh.
But thank you. That means 2 EA Plays from now, maybe 3 EA Plays from now, I can get excited.
Yes.
I'll allow myself to start getting excited.
And I guess they normally have one or two smaller projects that look interesting.
Again,
for their
article
EA
after the
originals.
fact,
Yeah.
and I'll swoop those up.
All right, Dari, let's end this with some other news.
Other news.
I think this is a fun thing. Koei Tecmo president Hisashi Koinuma said he would like to make a Mario and Star Wars Musou games. They were just kind of asking him, what properties would you want to do? He was like, Mario and Star Wars, man.
Together,
Obviously, that's absolutely
Mario versus Star Wars. You have Mario with a lightsaber side by side with Anakin.
Yeah. Darth Vader and Bowser on top of a castle.
Mario does that like flippy thing that Yoda
The final
does.
boss is Darth Vader riding Giga Bowser.
Oh shit!
I want a Mario Musou game.
The absurdity would be pretty juicy.
Because most of the other spin-offs we get are kind of like they make sense. They're like generally normal looking anime people or normal human looking things. With the absurdity, cartooniness of Mario and the moveset potential of those characters, I'd love to see that. It's just with the maps and everything, they go wild with it, and
Crazy.
And kind of continue the steps they've done with Hyrule Warriors and even like Persona 5 Strikers. Of the
Has there
action
not been a
stuff.
Star Wars Musou game?
No,
That's slightly surprising because there's been Star
they're kind of
Wars
like action
freaking
games, but nothing
everything.
like Musou related. I think Mario has a chance happening. I don't see Star Wars. Maybe.
I kind of
guess.
disagree. I say the complete opposite, if I'm being honest. Do you realize how many different genres of Star Wars games there's been?
Okay,
How many,
well,
like, weird dumb
let me.
spin-offs?
I guess let me. Actually, no. Wait. Koei Tecmo made a Marvel game. Never mind. Fuck what I said.
Yeah, I think the complete opposite of what you said is true. I would be way more surprised about a Mario Musou game. I mean, I think that sounds more fun. I don't think that sounds crazy, but like, I think that would be a surprise if they announced a Star Wars Musou game tomorrow. I'd be like, yeah,
Fair.
lightsabers. Go crazy. It's like, yeah, I could totally see that.
Makes sense. Stormtroopers missing everyone. Like Musou games.
Yep.
Just kind of stand there missing.
Perfect. Yep. I mean, yeah, it would. Star Wars Musou game would make sense. You could absolutely. I mean, All your people use swords and different shit like that, and carve up a bunch of aliens or stormtroopers or anything else like that, and go. They have great big battles in Star Wars that you could, yeah.
Do they make Anakin? Do they make you play Anakin killing the younglings?
Yeah, so many juggling of me.
I want that. I'd buy the game just for that.
Oh boy!
All right, RE Village has shipped over 3 million, which I think puts it as the fastest selling Resident Evil game, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh boy! I almost expect that number to be higher, but I mean it is in a very short time frame, so that is a lot. I just like the sales numbers. You just can't phase me almost at this point.
It's true. It's true. It's hard.
Yeah,
everything's selling like hotcakes.
Everything definitely do, but goddamn Capcom, they just keep going up and up and up.
Yep.
They don't freaking miss anymore. It seems like. Quick, make a Marvel vs. Capcom in the Street Fighter right now while the spice is here, while the good juice is flowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sadly won't. I mean, they will make they're making Street Fighter 6, but Marvel vs. Capcom probably not.
Same.
Yeah, big shame. But everybody likes the Lady D and her very tall physique.
Lady D. The Marvel vs. Capcom.
Let's go.
I think it's about time we had a new Resident Evil character in that game. I think it's been a little bit.
Yeah. That'd be
it's a little bit. Probably Wesker and I guess.
I love like her head literally like goes off the frame to the top.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do it, Capcom.
I like Ethan Winter's disembodied hands as a character.
Yes, of course. Secret unlockable character. OP.
Yeah, you can't kill him.
Yeah.
You can't kill these hands.
That small hitbox. All right. That was a podcast.
Yeah, that's a podcast. That was a good one. That was a good one. We had some very good discussions.
Yep. Well, I guess look forward. We're planning on next week. Adding another 2 characters to our character hall of fame.
Who will it be? We're running out of things in the background, so it'll probably be a little more mysterious.
I think we've done everything now. Like the setup was perfect last time.
It was hilarious. It was great.
That was not planned. It was utterly fantastic.
And because let's be clear, we did not plan to do this, but I think that really does show that what you see behind us is a pretty good representation of games we love, because completely unintentionally we have put a character from every single thing behind us.
Yes.
Really funny. Really, really funny. Even Overwatch.
Yep.
Literally all of them.
Yep.
Hilarious. Well, yeah, look forward to that. Let's see who it's gonna be and other shit. And then we finally giant crazy video game Hell Week is coming up soon between Final Fantasy, Ratchet and Clank, Guilty Gear, E3. It's the same week, right? E3.
Okay.
It's like, slow the fuck down. Can we just spread some of that
out?
out?
Speaking of that, you can look forward to our betting special, which I am putting together now, and we'll hopefully record by the end of the month and have it out.
Yeehaw, baby. And go ahead and follow us over at twitch.tv/nerdslargegaming. We do some fun stuff like Anime Gauntlet live every Wednesday. We are streaming It Takes Two. We've done 3 parts of it so far. We have a Pokemon Black Nuzlocke that we started, and we will definitely get back to it at some point after It Takes Two.
Yep.
And probably some E3 live reactions for the conference.
Oh, yeah.
For whatever conferences we're able to, but we are planning to, even the ones that me and Jeff are working, we're going to wait until we're both off and back here, and then do a reactions video, a late reactions video.
Yeah. Hey, probably not going to react to Ubisoft.
Yeah, no, the ones that we care enough to do that with. Yeah. So look forward to that. Until next time, may the way of the hero lead to the giant force.
Go.